Grizzy. You wanna be my alien goddess, then you gotta enter my fortress. Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumedh Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I'm talking about the psychological trigger of immediate feedback. This is an extension of clear goals. I talked about clear goals in the other video, and before that I spoke about intensely focused attention. So this is flow trigger number 3. So clear goals tells us what we're doing. Immediate feedback tells us how to do it better, how to improve our performance. If we improve our performance in real time, the mind doesn't go off and search for clues for betterment. So you have to determine what works for you and what doesn't work for you, what's effective and ineffective in the moment as it's happening. That's what immediate feedback is. I want to make a note here where you want to differentiate this from kind of aggressive micromanagement or being in your head, because it's not really being in your head, it's being out of your head and into your body, right? And you're adjusting as you're going along. Yeah, that's the way I describe it. It's more of an adjustment as you move forward and tweaking and honing and refining as you're moving through the present moment. It's almost like an exponential improvisation, okay? That's how I describe it. That's my own terminology. I just came up with that. But that's the way I describe it. You're learning from people. You're learning from some kind of software or some kind of measurement tool. You're learning from the environment. And it's this in-the-moment coupling between cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. Stimulus response. That's what you're doing. You're improving your productivity, your performance in real time. We can understand that for adventure sports athletes, the immediate feedback that they're getting is from the environment, and it's very automatic. You know, if you're climbing a mountain, the feedback is very clear. Okay, if you slip, you fall. Okay, that's very dangerous. So risk is also an element of this, obviously, which is another flow trigger for another time. But, you know, the same goes with any kind of natural thing, right? Like rivers, rocks, oceans. These have their own laws of physics or laws of nature. And so you can't really go against that. Those are the set principles. And, you know, you're going to get immediate feedback from nature. Let's say it's windy that day. Well, that's going to affect how you kayak. If it's raining, you might not really think it's a great idea to go rock climbing because the immediate feedback is making your hand slippery. So the laws of nature deliver these instantaneous and unmediated feedback. There's no judges, there's no scorecard, there's no American Idol judge telling you how you're doing or holding up a placard, right? There's no review in the New York Times. This is just pure in the moment, laws of nature, cause and effect. This is a built-in feedback from the laws of physics, as I mentioned. But what about otherwise? There's many different types of ways that we can measure our betterment. Measure our betterment. Not an impediment, yeah. You want to tighten any feedback loops. You want to put mechanisms in the right place so your mind or your attention doesn't wander and it's like, oh, look, a fluffy can. You're asking for more input. You're doing maybe daily reviews or check-ins. I love check-ins because daily check-ins, if you have a coaching group or, you know, join the Telegram group if you can. Click the link in the description. If you have daily accountability and you're doing check-ins each day with yourself, or at least with a group, a tribe of people, that's going to put you in that sense of immediate feedback. Because other people can see you, how you're doing, and if you've shown up that day, right? They can judge. And that's not judgment in a bad way. It's actually judgment for your own improvement. All right? So if you don't check in that day, or if you don't wake up in that morning, or if you don't do that workout, if you don't clock in work, people are going to know. Right, so do check-ins with yourself as well. Give yourself mental check-ins, or have a habit tracker. If you would like an access to a habit tracker, I have one that I use for my academy. So, you know, if you email me or shoot me a DM, Flowzone Academy, okay, I can send that over to you. But have these daily accountability, these little measures of what you're doing, and if you're checking in each day, okay? It's going to be very, very crucial for you to get into the flow like this. You want to understand that if your profession is very, vital, like let's say you're a surgeon, well, that's life or death, right? You mess up and somebody's life is at stake, they die. That's very, very immediate feedback, okay? You have to adjust accordingly. You have to be able to move with the current of what you're doing. Let's say you're an artist and you're doing a live performance. Let's say you're a performance artist and you notice people's eyes opening wider. They're shocked at your performance. Well, that's a nice metric, right? That's a nice immediate feedback you can look for. Let's say you're a theater practitioner or you're an actor. You're a theater actor on stage. Well, the audience is booing your performance, or they're throwing little banana peels at you, or like they're laughing at you. Well, that's immediate feedback. Something has to shift, okay? Clearly you've triggered them, or there's some kind of polarity there, or they don't like the performance, or it's too boring, or let's say people are walking out of the theater, right? That's immediate feedback. So you have to adjust accordingly. Those are facts, right? That's what the environment is giving you. That's what the audience is giving you. You can't argue against that. You can't sort of argue against the audience and be like, no, they don't understand my work, right? A lot of artists, they have this excuse, nobody understands my work, right? It's not that they don't understand. You have to first seek to understand, then to be understood, okay? The more camera clicks you notice, let's say you're a runway model, right? You're doing a fashion walk. 1 second. Could be a great way to have immediate feedback. Reviews are great, right? Someone gives you a review on what you've done, or a review on your music, a review on your services, or a review on your book. That gives you some form of immediate feedback, right? And you take that feedback and you adjust accordingly again. Let's say you can do 8 push-ups in week 1, and then in week 3 you do 12 push-ups. Well, that's measurable progress over time. But let's say one day you get up and you do 9 push-ups instead of 8. That's immediate feedback. Because in the moment you've pushed yourself and you've done something differently. Now you gotta go back to that. Like, hey, what did I do differently here? You know, what was my motivation, my diet, my self-talk that day that made me do 1 extra rep? How was my, progression, or what I did beforehand to get into that feeling? Where I did 1 extra rep on my exercise or something like that, right? That's one way to adjust your immediate feedback, and noticing it very clearly on like different things that you can do and how you can adapt in the present moment, and different ways that you can adapt. Let's say, for example, you want to speak to your crush, right? You got a crush on this girl, right? And you're trying to get her number. That's the outcome. And you want to get into flow state during that process. So you're talking with her, you're conversing. Certain times you notice her smiling. Immediate feedback. Flicking her hair. Immediate feedback. Laughing at your jokes. Immediate feedback. Moving more towards you, supposedly bumping into you in the hallway as an accident, right? You know it's not an accident. Playfully smacking you on the hand, a teasing gesture. All that preening, okay, is immediate feedback. And so this helps you with the outcome and the end, aka the number. If you didn't get any indicators of interest or progress in that sense, you might not be motivated to interact with her, right? You might get confused, or even like you'll be like, man, she's leading me on. Let's say that she gives you those signals, but you don't get the number in the end. You might say something like, oh man, she's leading me on, okay? Something like that. If she has a poker face or whatever, you may even perceive that as disinterest. It might not be the case, but that's how our perception works, right? We see something and then we add assumptions or judgments to it. That's how we can measure, actually, and that's very important that we do that, because if we didn't look for any indicators, if we didn't see the sign, we wouldn't know what we're improving, or we wouldn't catch anything like that. So a lot of people, where they don't see the signs of someone interested in them, right, you gotta perk your ears up and start to notice the signs, okay? Really look for the subtle cues in your environment and people around you and the different things that you're doing that show that, okay, I'm improving, I'm bettering something, I'm improving my performance every single day in every single way. I'm doing something different. I'm adjusting something in the moments. And so metrics and analytics, if you're doing social media marketing, for instance, is great. If you're running a business, you can always go to the insights and see, who's visiting your page, who's following you, whether you're gaining in followers or dropping in followers. Like, that's always a great indicator of how you're doing, right, in a sense. And so the numbers can't lie. The numbers are going to show you what to do next and how to adjust and how to tweak. Feedback is a great measurement. So, reviews, as I mentioned earlier, but also what I spoke about in terms of measurement in the last video of SMART goals. One of the elements of SMART goals is measurement. Make sure that you're tracking your progress in some way, whether that's check-ins, whether that's reviews, whatever you're doing, make sure that you're getting better as you're doing it. right? Immediate feedback would be like you eating something and like suddenly you notice your stomach rumbling as you're eating it, or something tells you like, nah, I don't really want this smells bad. That's immediate feedback, because that's your body protecting you from that thing, right? Raw meat or rotten meat, we want to stay away from it in a sense because it's going to get us sick. People who are more in tune or have more intuitive bodies in a sense can understand that, okay, I want to eat this, I don't want to eat this, I want to tweak this thing in my diet. It's about time you start listening to your body, start listening to your mind, start listening to your gut, and start incorporating much more of this immediate feedback effect throughout your day and throughout your week. And by doing that, you'll start to do that throughout your month, and then you can do it throughout the year, do it throughout your life, really, because this is a skill set that you've got to build. First of all, understanding clear goals, knowing what you want, but then how do you get better at what you want? So I hope this video helped you out today. Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you, and stay legendary. See you next time.